Hey everybody, there's a topic that I've wanted to make a video about for a while now, and I'm actually very curious about what the viewers have to say about it too. So the topic is the global exclusive, for now, light meta. So Elena has brought a lot to the global meta, and I think personally she's a little bit overtuned. And I think that Gumi actually came out and agreed with me this week, although it's a little bit indirect. So if you're wondering about how I'm able to say all of that, well, we're going to discuss it. Let's start by talking about why I think Gumi actually agrees with me that Elena is a little bit overpowered. And I think we can see it through the 3 different PvP modes that we have this week and the map restrictions that they've put in place. So for guild maps, we have the light attack resist up and the courage nullify. So the light attack resistance up obviously applies to all light units, but the courage nullify very specifically about Elena. The arena map rules are light attack resistance up and dark unit magic up, and then the class match rules are cost 540 or less and re-raise nullify. I think that there are lots of units that obviously take advantage of re-raise from Yuna, but the fact that Elena could use Yuna or the zombie TMR and also use courage but also be an evasion unit, that's a really big deal. It's even worse than just having courage and re-raise. So I think that was partly so that she wouldn't show up too much in class match as well. Now, part of the rules are that Gumi's trying to make sure that Golbez doesn't get absolutely crushed on his debut. And that's not to say that Golbez can't take on the light meta, but we're still all leveling him. We're building resonance and formations, and we're just learning his AI. So Gumi's incentivized to make sure he seems solid while his banner is still up and we're still learning how to maximize his potential. And for prior banners, we've seen things before. We've seen generally buffs for new units in Arena and Guild Battle, but this is one of the first times I think we've seen a specific unit targeted to be weakened. In the past, we have seen things like, for example, Missile Resist up, and that was back when Frederica and Lucia were rampant, and it was kind of an earlier stage of the game. It was much harder to deal with missile units back then, but now that wouldn't be much of a problem. We've also seen times where we've had accuracy up to deal with evade, but again, that was kind of a general problem where there was a lot of evade in the meta, and this is really coming down to one unit in my opinion. When we look back at the nature of those nerfs, specifically targeting courage and light resist, and then even re-raise in class match, I think it speaks to the fears that Gumi has that the global meta is a little bit skewed towards Elena right now, and in that way, Gumi's kind of looking out for us. Kind of, I mean, really looking out for their own interests, but either way, thanks Gumi. Now, some of you might be wondering, what's the problem with Elena? In my opinion, they just gave her one too many strengths. She has evasion, she has the power to deal a lot of damage, high magic and modifiers, but then also she has spirit and slash resist penetration. She has courage, she has multiple attack types, she has strong elemental support in the form of Jaden, Yuna, and Engelbert, and then in certain Elena teams, you have to actually kill her 3 times because you have to get through the re-raise, the courage, and then meanwhile, you know, most of us are focused on actually just trying to hit her. So you might ask at this point, Mysidia, what is your solution then? And I think it's simple. I think that Elena shouldn't have been an evasion unit. I think with the courage and also the easy elemental access to re-raise, she would have been very, very strong with her spirit and slash penetration. She'd still have great agility, which would enable her awesome chaining against slower tanks, and she'd still be, you know, one-shotting a ton of units, but she just wouldn't be unbeatable. We'd be able to deal with her. Now, we could just be a little bit less aggressive with that nerf, and we could say, maybe just don't give Elena an evasion TP skill so that she doesn't have that extra 25 evasion that can really push you over the edge, and you know, that can put you from the realm of maybe hit to not hit. And just to be clear, I'm not actually suggesting nerfs from Gumi here, but you know, the damage is already done. She's already out. She's already in the game. I'm just saying, in hindsight, you know, they gave her one too many things, and I think if I was going to take something away, it would have been the evasion piece. But in general, if we do see Gumi reacting more to the Elena meta, then I think what it would be again is that we'll see some more accuracy up maps in the future. All right, so now I want to know what you think. Is Elena too strong, or am I just overreacting to these PvP rule sets? Now keep in mind, if you're having an easy time with Elena, that's not necessarily the experience that a lot of other people are having. And you can also keep in mind that there's different metas at different levels of competition. So for example, in the heights of Guild Battle before Guild Battle Supremacy, we were seeing in Legend basically like full walls of Elena and Jaden and Yuna, or maybe Engelbert in there as well. And that was basically it. You had to be able to beat that team. And if you couldn't beat that team, you were getting 1 to 0 stars. So it was definitely very prevalent, and a lot of players will be able to relate to that. And the fact that, you know, if you didn't have certain units, you were basically out, that was pretty painful. So let me know what you think if you're experiencing any of this yourself, if you think you have a possible solution or anything like that. I'd love to hear it. Otherwise, it's about time that I got out of here. So thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider doing so and showing your support, liking, commenting, all that kind of stuff. I also have a channel membership if you're interested. So check that out. There's a link for it in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the next video.